How can you successfully complete your digital detox? Last week, I talked about the preparations for your digital detox, but this week we'll go into the practicalities and I'll share some of those tips and advice that I give either to my clients or during workshops so that you can also complete a successful digital detox. Hi there, my name is Beatrix Schmidt from the sleepdeepmethod.com. As a sleep coach and speaker, I help professionals to overcome what I would call lifestyle-related insomnia and other sleep-related problems. So if you're looking for practical insomnia and sleep tips and advice, hit the subscribe button below and come back each week when I share more practical tips and ways that you can achieve that great night's sleep as well. But before we jump into the practicalities of completing a successful digital detox, I want you to prepare before you actually begin. And one of the things that I always suggest with my clients is really looking at how do you behave with technology. And I mentioned some of these things in the previous video and last week's video. And I think this is one of the key points of you being successfully completing that period of time of technology. So the first thing I would ask you to do is just either assess how much you spend on your various different tech, or to look at some of those practicalities that you complete on your phone. And for example, for me, that would be diary management, that would be listening to music, that would be liaising with clients during the day, those kind of things. So being really aware of what are those different things that you use the tech for, because it will then help you to prepare rather than get sucked into it, even though you're trying to actually detach from it. Firstly, let's look at how you can physically detach from your tech to complete a successful digital detox. This is the first thing I go through with my clients if we realize that their sleep problems might be triggered by excessive tech use or their tech being in their life a little bit too much, especially towards the evening. So the first thing to do is creating physical space between you and all the tech that you use. And mostly this has become our mobile phones now. So how can you maybe, instead of keeping your phone in your pocket, putting it away a little bit further away so that you have a chance of recognizing that autopilot behavior when it happens. Because often reaching into our pockets, we can do within such a short period of time that often we don't even realize we've done that, because it becomes this sort of automated response to sort of having a little bit of time and checking something that might be important. The second thing here is having some sort of physical exercises instead of, again, this autopilot behavior. So the first thing is behavioral elements when I look at in terms of physical space. So a breathing exercise can be a really great way for you to actually pause before you go on autopilot. And if you take 1 or 2 minutes to just really focus on your breathing, it's not about slowing it down or making it faster. It's just actually checking in with yourself. And this is again a great way for you to start incorporating physical changes, slowing down your breathing when it comes to the evening routine and your ability to be able to switch off in the evening. And the third part is we use our tech to be an alarm clock. So that would be a really easy way to get an alarm clock so that you don't have to use your tech to wake you up in the morning. And this straight away starts your detachment from your phone when it comes to the first thing in the morning. So when you have an alarm clock, that means when you're waking up, you're not going to automatically reach out to your phone and then go on autopilot and start checking things before you even woken up properly. An alarm clock can be a great way for you to separate your first part of your morning from your tech. Let's look at the emotional detachment from technology as part of your digital detox process. A lot of the times when clients actually get emotionally charged up, either completely positively or negatively by their tech use, we need to really start understanding how we can detach ourselves and our emotions from from the technology we use. And I'm sure that if you've gone on social media and you end up sort of mindlessly scrolling through your feed, you have sort of experienced those different emotions that might come up, either perhaps seeing something like somebody sharing their lunch all the time, creating a bit of anger or frustration or detachment from that person, or seeing somebody's great news can actually get you to be emotionally super positive and happy and excited for them. So our social life has become quite attached to technology. And how we can actually detach from that is for us to take those emotions offline as well. So, for example, the practicalities of how to do that is reaching out to a friend and actually catching up with them in person. And this is something I proactively put into my life a couple of years ago, because I started noticing that instead of catching up with my friends, I would be okay with just sort of liking some of their posts or commenting on some of the things that they shared. But for me personally, it's super important to actually sit face to face across the table with someone and have a good conversation. Thirdly, how can you detach from technology in terms of your mental health and well being? And this is the third part of really successfully being able to complete the digital detox. So, a lot of the times when I work with clients, tech use really impacts their everyday focus, everyday confidence, the amount of notifications they might have, and their ability to be able to complete all those things during the day. The first thing you can do is use airplane mode and turning off notifications and using those proactively. Instead of thinking that you're going to be able to ignore them, why not have a 60-minute or a 30-minute time frame when you're actually automatically preparing for the task, putting your phone on airplane mode, taking all those notifications away, and really just focusing on the task at hand. The second part here is actually giving yourself permission to do that. A lot of the times when I work with professionals who work within a team environment, they feel like they have to be checking their phones all the time. But that's not really usually an expectation. If you have a focus time completing something, you will become more productive, which means that all those notifications, instead of stealing time away from you, turning them off will give you back time so that you can really complete all the things that you need to do. So give yourself permission to either communicate with your team that you will be working this way now and help them to maybe incorporate that too. Or if you work by yourself, then really giving yourself permission to not be online all the time. Now it's over to you. Commit to an amount of time that you practice detaching. And this does not have to be an entire weekend. This does not have to be an entire week. You can start as little as 30 minutes. I always say to my clients, it's better to incorporate everyday practices into our lives, which will remain there for the rest of our life, than carving out an entire weekend to actually come off everything and having this drastic action. The smallest things will make the biggest difference over a longer period of time. So let me know what you will commit to and how long you will actually use to practice some of these sort of digital detox elements that I mentioned in this video. Did you like this video? If you did, hit the like button below, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to share it with a family member or a friend that is preparing for a digital detox. This will really help them to look at all these different scenarios to take into account when they are actually completing that digital detox for themselves. And remember, overcoming sleep problems and putting in place some of these lifestyle changes takes time. So have patience with yourself and go through those everyday practices that will help you to build the positive habits into your life for many years to come. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in next week's video.